Start the recording, switch of screens. All right, guys, welcome back to, believe it or not, our 41st episode of our Ophion. It's been not, it's, 10 more sessions and we'll have a full year, but I think for at this point we've been going, what, year and a half, maybe? Anyway, I think it's interesting. Just a few announcements to kick the session off. First being that I believe we are going to skip 2 weeks from now, meaning we will not be meeting the 22nd, simply because too many people are out for the holiday. We will be picking back up on the 29th, so we are playing next week, the 15th, and we are going to hopefully be playing the 29th. It's just that 22nd week, the week of Christmas, that we will not be playing. Next announcement I have is that if you were not already aware of it, I have put out a free mission compendium for Star Trek Adventures. You can find it on my Patreon free of charge, and it features some of the best episodes, in my opinion, that this very same crew has gone through. And if you need help finding that, or it's not already in the video description link, just get in contact or look around my Twitter. You'll find the link. In fact, I think it's pinned to my Twitter page. Other announcements. Yes, so I am also going to be doing a playtest of a Fire Emblem system that is based on good old Star Trek Adventures here. That is just going to be a sort of one-shot playtest this coming Wednesday, the 12th. That's going to be at 9 p.m., I believe. Where did I put it at? Yeah, I put it at 9. So that's going to be at 9 p.m. here on Twitch and on YouTube. And I would love it if you came out and watched and, maybe inspire some of you to pick up the rule set. Other than that, don't think I have any announcements, so let's get into the game itself. So, would any of you like to do the recap for some bonus momentum, or would you like me to do it?
I think we could use the refresher.
Okay. So, quick TLDR of what happened. You all arrived at quote unquote Bucket Station, and Bucket Station is a Watchtower class starbase that sits on the edge of Zenkethi space. As such, it is sort of a go to for the Zenkethi leaving their space, and other than that, it's pretty much your average Federation starbase. There was some, shall we say, interesting subterfuge going on with Drake and Locke. They learned that there were some sort of machinations or otherwise deep-seated plans being activated by them poking their noses around in regards to the whole Harlock endeavor. But the main ticket item of the session was Commander Panek being discovered covered in blood over the body of a dead Orion female, whose name was Lavu. And it came out that Panek was obviously the chief suspect, because when you're covered in blood and you're first to discover the body, kind of hard not to think that you're the one who did it. In any case, Panek was, sorry, what's the word I want? Detained, and Drake, doing what Drake does, went a little bit reckless, punched Zenkethi, and ended up in the brig with Panek. And we are going to start the session with actually Preer. Preer, you have been called to the brig to supervise what Captain Skull has described as being another, shall we say, episode, because I think that's would be how he would phrase it. And he's also called in Lieutenant Commander Shatsu to supervise this as well. And Preer, at this point, all you really know is that there has been some sort of murder and that Panek has been in charge. You have already reached out to assist with any autopsies of the murder victim, but you haven't heard back on that quite yet. So, we're going to cut to the brig, where we have Panek. You're still in your cell. Shatsu is taken over security for the time being, so that the only people who hear what goes on here are Ophion personnel. Doing that required Skull to pull a few strings, but that's probably why he's not here. He's currently running interference with the Admiral. But Preer, you're here on staff, along with Drake and Shatsu, though Drake's behind a force field of his own. And it's up really to Panek and yourselves to decide whether or not Panek indulges his quote-unquote dark side.
The captain's not here?
No, the captain left immediately after learning that you might be able to learn additional information to both secure the area and so that he could call in Preer.
Commander, it's strange to see you behind a force field.
I do not like being behind one. I'd much rather be out there with my hands around your neck.
Alrighty then. Sounds like you're embracing your dark side.
Letting it loose, embracing, this is me, this is... Everything Pinect does is to maintain a hold on me, and finally, I have reason to be let go. You need me now, don't you?
From what I have heard, the information you could provide could help us in everything that is happening.
I have information. I could help, but this is a very tit-for-tat situation, Doctor. I want certain offers to be placed on the table. I want certain things to be, requirements to be met. I am very, very sick and tired of just sitting here watching this robot run around in my body.
And what are these provisions you talk about?
I want you to stop administering the drug that allows him to restrain me.
I only administer it when Pinnick asks for it.
And I'm asking you to not administer it. I am Pinneck as well.
This is true. However, if it is asked that it be administered again, it is up to the patient to decide.
We will table this for now. I have information, and I look over at Shatsu and I wave to her. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. You wish to discover this killer that you are hunting?
That would be the goal.
I was on my way to the terrestrial enclosure. It gets so stifling sometimes in that ship of yours. Eventually I found my way at Club Myriad. I was attempting to empty them of their stock. It takes quite a lot of alcohol, as you would know, Doctor, to inebriate a Vulcan. And I was looking for a game, someone I could play with, mangle, take some frustrations out on. I spotted a very demure-looking blonde Vulcan. I followed him out into the alleyway, and to my surprise, there he was, mind-melding with the victim, the Orion woman. I monitored them for a time, and then when he broke contact with her, she began to kill herself, repeatedly stabbing herself. Completely mind-boggling to me. The blonde male, I tried to stop him, but he disabled me. Apparently I had chosen my prey a little too hastily. He got the better of me. And there I was, covered in the Orion woman's blood, just as normal Pinneck took back over.
Interesting. Would you be able to identify this Vulcan? Should we be able to get a picture of him?
Most assuredly.
Well, that's good. Shatsu, do we have any video surveillance from that area that we might be able to find this said Vulcan?
Last I knew, the good Locke and Murthrin were working on that.
Then, Pinneck, I will go and check with Murthrin and Locke to see their progress, and should we be able to find a picture of this Vulcan, we'll bring it to you to confirm.
Remember, Doctor, my further cooperation depends on our stipulations.
I understand.
Alrighty. So, quick scene with Murthrin and Locke before we have you all meet up in the conference room. At this point, you guys have looked at the logs. You've poured through them looking for any abnormalities. And though you don't know you're looking for a blonde Vulcan quite yet in character, you do know that you have a street camera. It's about a block away, but it does provide at least one view of an alleyway entrance. You do not have the other side of the alleyway entrance, but you at least have the one, so that could be helpful. You also, by this point, have both been able to determine that, how do I want to phrase this? The victim, as much as you've interfaced with the medical personnel, and of course Preer's going to have to do his own medicine to figure this out, but it is believed at this point that the cause of death was obviously self-inflicted and was not someone else stabbing her.
Well, that honestly, that doesn't really help us clear Panek at all, does it?
Well, I mean, you can't prove he did anything.
No. I mean,
There's always
I
the
guess we have
reasonable
to
doubt.
I mean, we're kind of banking on the fact that Zenkithi aren't fully up to snuff on how mind melds work.
I'm not particularly up to stuff with how mind wells work in regards to self-harm. Isn't there the same kind of hypnosis thing where you can't be compelled to kill yourself?
It's complicated. Vulcan mind melds are well, they're a very different beast to your more standard Betazoid style telepathy. It's not two minds communicating so much as it is two minds temporarily fusing. If someone wanted to cause damage, they could cause an absolutely horrific amount of damage, assuming they didn't mind risking a similar amount of damage to themselves.
So it only works assuming that Panek is damaged enough that he would want to kill himself as well.
I mean, I've heard of occasions of entire personalities being imprinted on some other person in the process of a mind meld.
And on that note, let's say that you both walk into the conference room on that note, and Preer is there waiting for you. That way he can weigh in as well.
Priya, any luck at your end?
Well, Panek's darker side is coming forward. However, he was able to give a little bit more insight into the situation. He said that there was a blonde Vulcan.
I'm sorry, darker side?
Oh, that's a whole nother conversation.
I think that just violates a doctor-patient confidentiality.
But there is... He said that there was a blonde Vulcan mind melding with the victim before she started to stab herself. So...
Wait, hold on, so Panek was actually there to witness the murder?
That is his current statement, yes.
Why didn't he say so earlier?
Oh, he had memory loss earlier.
Yeah, this is a very strange process going on at the moment with Panek.
Yeah, I did run a few hollow simulations
Apparently.
which do collaborate the idea that the wounds were self-inflicted. The knife doesn't line up with the physical assault, but we can't really prove if it was Panek or different Vulcan mind melding. Unless we can pull forensics off her face, because you need to physically make contact for mind melding.
We have managed to narrow down some of the security cameras surrounding the alleyway. If we know what we're looking for, we might be able to find something.
According to Panek, it was a blonde Vulcan that mind melded with the victim. If you guys want to comb through the security footage and find that, I can see if I can go and assist in the autopsy and see if we can find fingerprints on the face of the victim.
All right. Mercer will just go over to the console in the conference room and start accessing the footage.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna look through the personnel records and see if I can find any other references to Vulcans, any other Vulcan crew members on the station or on ships that are currently docked.
You know, Mercer says as he sort of continues to have him think, lived in Vulcan most of my life. I can't remember ever seeing a blonde Vulcan. Seen plenty of blonde Romulans, though.
Well,
Then-
I mean, there's no accounting for hair dye. Not that I have any experience with that.
Let's bring up all Vulcan or Romulan that are blonde, and kind of go from there. Panek says he should be able to identify it. Should we be able to produce a picture of the person?
All right, so Mercer will just go through the footage, see if he can pull off anything that matches that description.
Alrighty. So this is going to be a insight security, and the difficulty here is going to be a 3. However, both Prier and Locke, you may assist on this.
That'd be useful. Did we start off with any momentum?
Nope, you are a blank slate at the moment.
Cool. I will take a threat to get a third dice.
Alrighty.
I will assist.
Alright.
Just one assist, or can I?
You both can assist,
You-
why not?
Use
Insight
data
security?
pattern analysis as a focus.
That will definitely be a focus.
Ooh.
Alright, well, that's 2 successes and a complication.
Would Vulcan culture count as a focus?
I would say yeah. You would know that mostly Vulcans have dark hair for a reason, and a blonde one does stick out.
How about data analysis?
Data analysis will apply, sure. Alright, you got the 3 successes you need. Alright, so it's 3 and a complication. So let's say that, yeah, you go about the visual records of about the time that... oh, that's an interesting message. Anyway, sorry. You go about the time the murder happened, and you look at the footage, and it looks like that there is indeed a blonde Vulcan. Sort of has a bowl cut. He is wearing what I believe, did I have him in? Yes, he's wearing a blue Starfleet uniform. He has the rank of ensign, and you see him look both ways as he steps out of the alleyway, dust himself off, and just sort of walk up the street to the north. The complication to this is that you're not able to get a very good glimpse of his face. The camera you're seeing through at the moment is simply just too far out of range, or maybe the angle was just not right.
At the wrong angle. He never looks anywhere in the direction of the camera.
Yeah, something like that. Just from one reason or another, you're not able to get a good face picture of this guy.
Well, that looks like a man.
He's wearing a Starfleet uniform. Ensign. Locke, is there any Vulcan ensigns that are blonde?
Let me pull up the station's roster to see if there's anything.
All right. So let's have Locke, since he was the one who said he was going to look through it. Let's have you do an insight security. And Murthrin, you can assist on this as well. And I'm going to make the difficulty here a 2.
Yep. Insight security again?
Yep. All right, Locke's got the 2 you need already. Let's see if Murthrin gets you any momentum.
Nope.
All right, no momentum, but you pass. And yeah, sure enough. I really
Is
wish
anyone else getting that
was-
message
Yeah,
that
error message.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, as you go through the Bucket Station's roster, you do indeed find a Romulan by the name of Decem. And I'll put that in chat. Yes, he is Ensign Decem. He is the ensign, not quite in charge, but he works in one of the hydroponics bays of the station. And as far as anyone knows, he's fresh out of the academy, doesn't have a whole lot on his record, but he is the only blonde Vulcan that you do see within the personnel files.
All right, so let's grab his mugshot and give that to Priya.
Okay.
I will go show this to Panek and see if he can confirm the identity from this. I'll also go and see if we can get any information from the autopsy.
And after Priya leaves, Mithrin goes over to Locke and goes, "Do you know what he was talking about with Penek's dark side?"
Not particularly. He does have well, he's cranky at me a lot, but I haven't seen a dark.
Yeah, I haven't really had a chance to interact with him since we got back into our time zone. He has seemed a little off, but
He was quite upset about the carpet. Oh, you didn't see the carpet on the bridge, did you?
what did you do to the carpet?
There may have been a slight explosion. It's very slight.
And Mithrin just sort of pinches the bridge of his nose and sort of pulls out his tricorder and makes a note to replenish the stocks of carpet.
Drake and I already managed to replicate a replacement, and you can hardly tell that it was patched.
Oh,
I mean,
I'll know.
there's only a slight weathering difference.
The color is only slightly off.
Yeah, it's like brown and then neon pink. Just, Anyway, all right.
Cut two.
So, let's go ahead and cut to Theater of the Mind so that Prier can do the autopsy type stuff. So, Prier, you find yourself in the Bucket Station's medicine or medical bay, sick bay. That's the word I want. You find yourself in sick bay, and there is a Betazoid individual who is currently actually performing the autopsy as you walk in. He has the rank of Lieutenant Commander.
Lieutenant Commander.
He turns around and says, "You're not one of mine. You must be from one of the visiting ships. I am Esabir. Who are you?"
I am Lieutenant Junior Grade Prier. I am the Chief Medical Officer of the Ophion.
Well, considering it's your fellow that we have in our brig, I take it you're here to help me with the autopsy.
Indeed.
Well, clean your hands and come on over.
I will do that.
All right. So, this is going to be an extended task. The difficulty here, base difficulty, will be a 3. The default task is going to be a control or an insight plus medicine. The work track is going to be, we'll say, a 12. And there will be no resistance to this. So you're just sort of rolling straight. And you need 3 breakthroughs, we'll say.
All right. Would any of my focuses apply?
Well, run them by me and I'll tell you.
I have research methods, xenobiology, emergency medicine, etymology, Vulcan culture, and infectious diseases.
I would say Vulcan culture would apply here on the loosest of threads because you do know that a Vulcan was involved with the murder and that a mind meld may have been involved, so it would be something that you would know to look for.
Alrighty. And I'm going to buy a 3rd die with threat.
Okay. Oh, well, there you go. That's the 3 you need. So now roll me your challenge die. It's going to be 6 challenge die to see how much work you've done. All right. Would you like to spend a threat to reroll those 3 zeros?
I feel like that's a good idea.
All right. All right,
This
that's
has
5,
never-
and it's what you need
He's
for a
never come back
breakthrough.
twice.
So the difficulty goes down to 2, and you do discover something very important. Using your knowledge of the fact that a mind meld was involved, you immediately begin to work on getting samples from the face around the pressure points where one would usually make contact when performing a mind meld. And sure enough, you are indeed able to find that the skin cells that you pick up that do not belong to the victim do indeed belong to someone else entirely. You haven't yet quite confirmed that they belong to this Decem individual, but it is a good hypothesis.
All right. Doctor, I found some cells not belonging to our victim here on the face, the running theory for the investigation is that a mind meld was performed on this individual.
Mind meld, you say? Let's go ahead and check her neurotransmitter levels. I haven't gotten around to that yet. And yeah, sure enough, let's have another control or insight medicine, difficulty 2 now. Two's all you need. So yes, Prier, between the two of you, you do in fact find that she has elevator neurotransmitter levels, and that her neurochemistry is indeed, is it conducive? The word I want. Basically shows that there was definitely a mind meld here, and that she was not in the, I hate to make this pun, the right state of mind when she was killed.
And there's that. Wow.
Wow, that actually is enough to complete the challenge outright. So, you are also able, during this check of her neurotransmitters, you are indeed able to run the epidural sample, I think it's epidural, the skin cells through the computer database, and sure enough, they confirm that they belong to Ensign Dasim.
Doctor, do you know anything about this Ensign Dasim that it seems to be producing? That these skin cells belong to him?
Honestly, I don't really know a whole lot of people outside the senior staff here on Bucket Station. I don't really know anything about this ensign in particular. Looks like he probably works in a hydroponics bay.
Yes. When we were going through security footage, it seemed like he was the individual that we saw at the end of one of the alley. Although we did not get a clear face picture of him, but finding the skin cells on our victim here does seem to point us in that direction.
Well, sounds like you might have cause to let your commander out of the brig. Of course, good luck convincing our quote-unquote lovely Zenkethi security officer to let him out.
Honestly, Doctor, at the moment, probably letting him out, not the best idea. But I will go to the security officer and definitely give him our findings.
Okay. So, where would you be going at this point? Would you be going back to the brig itself, or would you be going to the security office to talk to the Zenkethi in charge?
I'll go to the security office, but I would calm Murthrin and Locke to join me there.
Okay.
All right.
So
Which we will.
A little bit of token shuffling around here. All right. So you three will arrive at the security office, and they're behind what is the equivalent of a Zenkethi desk, because, you know, Zenkethi are big individuals, and they need furniture specifically designed for them to sit in. But is the individual that most of you know, or will know very shortly, as Ligar Tokmuk A. And he just sort of looks at the three of you as you come in, and he says, all right, what do you want now? You want me to, like, literally let him out of the cell? I mean, what do you want?
I mean, eventually, but I think right now we're more interested in getting your permission / cooperation to bring in another suspect.
Another suspect, you say? And how did you arrive at this?
And Mazarin will sort of like just motion to Priya to let him do his thing and give the details.
Oh. All right. So, go ahead, Priya.
Well, sir, we were combing through the security footage of the area and found an image of an individual in a Starfleet uniform, blonde Vulcan. And as we did our digging further, we found an individual by the name of Desem on our station. And after going to the medical bay and assisting with the autopsy, we did find what seems to be Desem's skin cells on our victim, specifically on the face in the spots where a mind meld would have been performed.
So you believe and have evidence to suggest that this Dasim individual was the murderer. Is that what you're getting at here?
As of right now, the evidence does point in that direction. Our victim had elevated neural levels that would have corresponded with a mind meld.
We certainly have enough information to bring him in for questioning and do a search of his quarters. If I don't know if these Enkethi use warrants, but we have enough for that equivalent of investigation, which hopefully will reveal enough to conclusively prove that this individual was.
Well, you may certainly search his quarters, though my expertise in Federation law is not best. I simply handle most of the promenade and most of the terrestrial enclosure type security. Starfleet security is handled by someone completely different, technically. I mean, sure, day to day I handle it, but technically it's someone else.
Could you point us in the direction of that individual?
I could indeed. And give me 1 second to find where I put him in my notes. You're looking for a Rigelian. Her name is Skisa. And I'll put that in chat so you can butcher it just like I can.
Well, thank you, Lagar. We will contact this Miss Skiza and we'll continue from there.
Very good. And I expect you to keep me up to date on the developments here. And if you need me to send some security forces with you, just simply say the word.
Will do.
All
Thank
right,
you for your help.
All right, I guess, Priya, you go get in contact with the Shiza while me and Locke do a quick casing of Sam's quarters, see if we can find anything.
Sounds like a plan. Let me know if you need any help.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So let me just split you guys off here a little bit so that you know who's doing what. So he's not here anymore. All right. So you're over here. You're over here. You're over here. All right. So let's handle Murthrin and Locke first. So you're heading to his quarters, yes?
Yes.
All right. Just wanted to make sure. And at this point, trying to see if I've got the map for this somewhere. I think I do. I just got to figure out where it is. No, I just have the senior quarters. Well, we can just use the senior quarters. All right. So give me 1 second to get you guys onto that map. There you are. Hey, look at that. I already have your 2 tokens there. Look at that. Yeah. We'll say that Lagar gave you his permission to override the security measures that would normally keep passersby out of the ensign's quarters, and sure enough, you are able to get inside.
Alrighty. Alright, let's just do a quick search of the apartment, see if we can find anything out of the ordinary.
Okay.
I start with the clothing and boots and see if there's any trace of blood.
Okay. This is
and
going to be...
Murthrin will specifically be taking advantage of the fact that he grew up in Vulcan to just look around for anything that would be weird for a Vulcan to have.
Okay. I will say, given all that, this is going to be another extended task, but the difficulty is only going to be a starting 2. And this will also be a insight security or an insight con if you're Murthrin because you have Vulcan experience.
Alrighty.
But I think security is better for you anyway.
Con's actually slightly better for me.
Oh, well, there you go.
Let's see, it's difficulty 2.
I guess I will
I'm racking up quite a bit of threat. Is this both of us doing the extended task at the same time, or?
Well, one of you's going to be taking the lead, and the other one's going to be assisting.
Alrighty.
So it's just whoever feels like they want to do the main role.
Security at?
Security's 3, but my insight's only 9, so.
Alright, so I've got insight 11, so... Alright, I'll do the lead, and... Yeah, I feel dicey about taking even more threat, so I'll just go with 2 and hope it's enough with the assist.
Alrighty.
Oh, hang on. Actually, no, let me double check my talents, because I think I've got some that work well with extended tasks.
Since I'm specifically looking for blood and such on clothing and the details, with that targeted scans.
I will, yeah, that can definitely apply as a focus.
No, that one's only reason and control. All right.
Alright, well, you got two from Locke, so
It's
as
like,
long as you get a success.
Yes, for that's a
All
1.
right. So you guys do indeed get a momentum. Alrighty. So, Mirthrin, you're now going to roll 5 challenge die to see how much work you how much
Alrighty.
work you've done. All right. Would you like to spend the momentum you just got to get the breakthrough, or would you just want to keep the momentum for now?
No, I think we'll spend that on the breakthrough.
Alrighty. So your difficulty goes down to 1, and what you find as you look around is that there are several things that stick out to both of you. First, Mirthrin, you remember what a Calto device looks like, yeah?
Yep.
All right. So imagine a Calto device that has been sort of shattered and broken and otherwise pieces strewn everywhere throughout the, we'll say, area over here to the right end of his quarters. Locke, with you looking
that's not a good
for
sign.
specific bloodstains on clothing or really anything out of the ordinary, you do find a pair of boots hidden under the bed that is scuffed, dirty, looks like it's been tramped through mud a couple of times, and it does have the faintest red hue to it on the sole, but you're not sure if it's blood or not.
Well, this looks somewhat intimidating.
Honestly, I think this is more worrying. Mirthrin said, sort of like looking at the shattered Calto device. You familiar with what these are, Locke?
Not particularly.
Yeah, they're sort of like a cross between a solitaire logic puzzle and a meditation device. The fact that
And a
it's
smash
shattered.
when that's
Yeah, let's just say Vulcans aren't really known for smashing things when they're in a sane state of mind.
Well, we have
Well-
this is hopefully the boots will turn up something that is disturbing, but it's not going to clear Pinnock of murder charges. We cannot go to a judge and say
It
you have
might
lost the
if the
solitaire.
blood on those boots belongs to our victim.
And even if it's not blood, we might be able to find some trace particles or residue of the area the murder took place.
Let's get this to the station security office. See what we can find out.
All right.
Do we have enough authority to access personal logs?
I would
I mean,
say
we are
you
Starfleet.
would at this point, either because Skull got it for you or because Lagarde just told you you could. But before you leave, you could spend another task looking through this place for any other details.
Good point.
You keep searching the room. I'll check through the logs and see if there's anything interesting.
Sounds good.
All right, so same rolls before. Insight Con for Mirthrin. Locke, you're doing Insight Security, and difficulty's now only a 1.
As a 1 success.
All right. And, all right, so you get a momentum. All right.
Yay!
So, you do find, both of you find, again, something interesting. Mirthrin, when you go to check the bathroom, you find that the mirror, it's a very eerie scene. You look in the mirror, and you almost jump because it looks like there's someone behind you. But when you look, there is I guess you would describe it as like a cardboard cutout, at first glance, but when you look at it further, it is some sort of punching bag or form of otherwise stress relieving type thing that you would punch. and it currently has the picture of the Admiral, Admiral Wolf, as sort of taped to where the face would be. And Locke, as you go through Dasim's personal logs, you do find that probably about the same time he arrived on the station, he began to complain about how boring his job was and that how he wished he could do literally anything else with his time. And the more these logs go on, the more, shall we say, detached he is, the more disillusioned with Starfleet he becomes.
This is disturbing.
Not as disturbing as this, Murthrin says from through in the bedroom.
What did you find?
Are you familiar with the old Terran cliche of the dartboard with the boss's face on it?
Yes, I have a hologram of Skull I use for that sort of thing.
Yeah, and Murthrin sort of like pulls the punching dummy into view from the door.
That's okay. That's a little disturbing for Vulcan.
Yeah. Oh, darn. I was going to call the captain, but the captain's not here.
I mean, I can play a little bit of him as long as you don't make me make sweeping decisions.
Basically, Bertha just wants to like get in contact and say, hey, can we double check where the Admiral is at the moment?
Well, I'm happy to report that he's right in front of me. Why? Should I know something?
Good news and bad news. Good news, we have a solid lead on an alternative suspect in the murder case.
And
bad news, we think the Admiral is their ultimate target.
Oh.
So if you could, like, keep an eye on him?
Yeah, we'll just lock down ops until you can figure this whole thing out.
I think that'd be a wise plan.
Well, if you need any security personnel, just, I'd say contact Drake, but the bastard got himself locked up, so contact Shatsu.
Right. Conrad. Okay, we need to meet up with where we need to find this Dasam now before he hurts someone.
Right.
Again.
So we cut back to Theater of the Mind. Seriously, if Roll20, if anyone on Roll20 stream is listening, please give us a better way to go through maps. So many maps. Alright, so, Prier, you actually end up in the JAG office, and when you step inside, there is a human female, rank of lieutenant, that looks up from her desk and says, welcome, Lieutenant. Can the JAG help you with anything?
I'm looking for Skiza.
You're looking for Captain Skiza, the head JAG officer of the station.
Apparently so. I was informed that they are the ones in charge of Starfleet security from our chief of security of the station, the Zinkethi individual.
Ligar's delegating again, is he? And she sounds like this happens almost like every day. And she says, very well, I can buzz you in to talk to the captain, but she's already not in a good mood, what with two of you Ophion folks in her brig. You might want to tread a little bit carefully.
Noted, thank you.
And she buzzes the door, and the door opens, and you see past her is a sort of more important looking office. Looks like it has quite a bit of file folders or pads just sort of strewn about the place. And there's a very exasperated looking Rigelian on the other side, currently with her back to you in her chair.
I stroll in. Captain?
And she kind of holds up a hand to show that she's talking to someone. And she finishes her conversation by saying, all right, look, just stay where you are and we'll handle it. All right? And there's some answer that you don't hear, and you hear her sigh, and then she turns around and says, all right, Lieutenant, you've got 5 minutes before I have to do something else. What is it you need?
We need your permission to apprehend an individual by the name of Dasim. we have reason to believe, based on the evidence provided through some investigation and an autopsy, that they are the ones that caused the murder in the alleyway that my executive officer is currently in the brig for.
And since you're here, I'm assuming you already showed this to Lagar.
Yes, sir.
Well then, this is going to be very interesting, because I literally was just talking to one Dasim who told me that the Zenkethi were trying to take him into custody against regulation.
Interesting. Lagar said that we had to go through you to be able to take any Starfleet individuals on the station into custody.
And she gives another deep sigh and she says, yeah, he does that so that he can get a hold of the suspect first. It's the most annoying bullshit tactic in the world.
Sounds like tactics used in ancient Earth history.
Don't get me started. Well, normally I'd come with you, but given that you're probably going to have to fight Zenkethi to get to him, have fun.
Sir? I just raised an eyebrow.
Oh, I thought you would have known this already. Let's just say the Zenkethi aren't exactly the most friendly when it comes to bringing in a suspect.
Ah. Okay. That. Alrighty then. So does that mean I get to meet Dasim in the sickbay or in the brig?
Well, I mean, if you get to him before the Zenkethi do, that means you probably get to talk to him while he's conscious.
Noted. I'm going to go now.
And she sort of just points at the door and says, well, good luck. And do try not to break any regulations bringing him in. That just means more paperwork for me.
I will do my best, but as I always say, I promise nothing. And I walk out the door.
Alrighty. So,
Cue the chase music.
my question is, do you pick up anyone along the way as you try to go to wherever Dasim is at the moment?
I'm going to call Murthrin and Luck and ask them if they found anything and tell them that I'm on my way.
A lot of supporting evidence. We need to get this Dasim fellow before he hurts someone.
Well, it sounds like the Zenkethi are on their way to hurt him, so we need to find him first.
Oh, and at that sort of Bertrand sort of actually freezes and goes, "Oh no, okay, we have to get to him first." And
Is he wearing his comm badge? Can we locate him?
Trust me, you do not want to be on the receiving end of a cornered Vulcan.
Yeah. Yes, you do find, if you were to query the computer, that Ensign Dasim is currently in his botanical bay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll meet you guys there at the Botanical Bay. Hopefully the Zenkethi don't get there first.
All right. So
Well,
I
let's find
currently have Prier, Locke, and Murthrin are going. Are you
Yep.
bringing anyone else?
Is there
Should we
anyone-
calm Shatsu?
I would
No,
say
actually,
bring
yeah.
Shatsu along so that Panek has someone to play. I kind of feel
I was going
bad.
to suggest a security guard of some kind.
Yeah.
Yep. So actually, yeah, Murthrin will come. Murthrin to Shatsu, come in.
Shatsu here.
But we need you to meet us at Dasan's quarters pronto. We have to get to him before the Zenkethi start trying to rough him up.
Acknowledged. I'm on my way.
Yep,
I'll
send
grab
him
a
forward.
phaser.
All right. I would now like one of you to roll me a 1d100, please. And this will represent where in the action you guys show up. Lower is better.
Who wants to do the honors?
I think you just volunteered, Murthrin.
Oh, darn.
Hey, 17.
Okay.
Alrighty. So what's going to happen is you arrive at the Botanical Bay. Where is that map? There it is. So you guys are all coming in via this door to the south. And right as you step inside, you hear banging from the doors over here to the east. And you have all of a few seconds before Zenkethi break down the doors and phaser fire starts, going everywhere. But during those few seconds, Dasim kind of looks at you. You see Dasim kind of hiding behind one of the trolleys that has a bunch of plants on it. and he has a full-on phaser rifle, Type 3, in his hands, and he says, "Who the hell are you? I don't care who you are. The Zenkethi, they're trying to take me in for something I didn't do. You got to help me."
Oh. I guess we all just kind of stop confused.
And
Quick, come this way.
that's all he needs is that few seconds for the Zenkethi to break in. So let me get everybody in the turn order. And because I literally relearned this fact, the NPC team can move first. It does not have to be you guys. So, who's actually going to move first is going to be Dasim. So the very instant a guard comes into view of the Zenkethi, he's going to aim and fire. So, let's see how well he does. Survey says, oh, yeah, he hits. He hits quite well. And let me double check the damage on this. All right, he's rolling 6 challenge die. Oh, dear.
Wow.
Oh, dear.
Oh,
so
we're going to have a hard time convincing them to back down.
Well, mostly because the Zenkethi he shot is no more. He's shooting to kill.
Oh, does he have it set on disintegrate?
He has it set on maximum setting kill. Maximum lethality.
Oh, yikes. So, yeah, that Zenkethi just turned into mist.
Yep, that Zenkethi is no more. And I will say at this point, it's going to be the Zenkethi's turn. So I'm just going to knock them down to 1 turn so I can keep it in mind. So one of the Zenkethi runs in, sort of dives behind one of these benches that holds a bunch of plants, and doesn't really do a whole lot for him because Zenkethi are big old folk, but he takes a shot at Dasim, and it says he misses completely. Dasim is able to duck behind cover as the Zenkethi fire streaks in the air where he once was. And then another Zenkethi walks in on their turn and looks to you all and says, "The hell do you want, Starfleet? Either help us bring him in or get the hell out of here." And it is now whichever one of you players wants to go first.
Alrighty. Well, I think Merthin will sort of duck for the nearest piece of cover and... how large is this hydroponics bay?
I would say it is about the size of a cargo bay on the Ophion, so it's fairly decent size. You could maybe fit 2 holodecks in here if you really wanted to.
Nice and roomy, but not warehouse sized.
Correct.
Okay, so I think we're probably close enough. Merthrin's going to aim. He's going to be aiming to disarm.
Okay.
Which I'm not sure if you can actually do that with a phaser, so I guess it'd just be set to stun.
I believe. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think you can do it with a ranged weapon, but I know you can do it with a melee weapon.
Merthrin's definitely not running up into melee with this guy.
Let me just double check, because it could change how the fight pans out. Let's see. Okay, so apparently, even ranged weapons can disarm, and the way disarm works is that you have to pay 2 momentum, and one weapon held by the target is knocked away and falls to the ground within reach.
And we've only got the 1 momentum at the moment. Alright, so I guess Merthrin will just duck for the nearest piece of cover and then aim to stun.
Okay.
Alrighty, so that's... is it fitness security for the phasers?
Control security, and the difficulty is a 2.
Control security... no focus, because I don't have any phaser weapony focuses.
Mm-hmm.
Lost the dialogue button. There we go. There we go.
2 you need. All right, so now go ahead and roll your damage.
All right, so that's 5 plus 2, so that's 7. Actually, do you add security for phasers?
Yeah. What weapon are you using?
Basic Type 2 phaser.
Then I believe your damage is just 5 challenge die.
Yeah.
All right.
3.
So, you are indeed able to hit Ensign Dasim, but he does get to roll some challenge dice for his cover. And yeah, so his cover behind the movable planter tanks your shot, but this also has the effect that when you try to shoot him, he says, "I knew it! You're all against me! Fine! I'll take you all on!" And it probably means he's going to start shooting at you guys too.
Yeah. There's no way we're going to talk him down while Senkethi are shooting at him.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of his turn, he gets another one, because I do have the threat to give him another turn. He, peeks out from behind cover, shoots at, let's just do a 1d6 roll. See which one of you he shoots at. Hey, Murthrin, how you doing there, buddy?
No, we'll see.
Yeah, he does hit you. So go ahead and roll me 2 challenge die for your cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because shrubberies are not that good at defending you from phaser blasts.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you're going to reduce your damage by 1, which is very important because that would have been a lethal injury had you not reduced it. So you're going to take 4 stress damage as you are hit in the right shoulder, and you just feel pain sear up the arm, and you can feel it scarring and burning, but you're still up. You're still able to fight. It just hurts like a lot.
He just does a dramatic sort of spin fall backwards.
Gotcha. All right. It is now the player's turn again, so whichever one of you would like to go.
I'll take a shot at stunning Dasim.
Alrighty, so control security, difficulty 2. And I'm pretty sure Shatsu has a focus.
Hand-to-hand, handheld energy weapons. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, she even gets you a momentum.
Hooray! Now we can try to disarm him.
How many challenge dice?
Which weapon are you using?
I think I just got a phaser with me. I didn't bring a rifle or anything.
Alright, so hers is a type 2, so 8 challenge die overall. Wow, very nice. Normally he would go down with that injury, but I'm going to spend a couple points of threat to keep him up. So
he is a crazed Vulcan killer.
Yeah, so where would you like to hit him, just for flavor purposes?
Let's say the shoulder.
Okay, so shoulder for a shoulder. You blast a scene. Oh, you know what? I didn't roll his cover. Let's roll his cover. Because that also could change what happens here. Yeah, doesn't affect it anyway. So yeah, you hit him in the shoulder, and you hear him cry out in pain. And there, for those of you among the party, so I guess it's actually just Murthrin, because you're the only empath or telepath or anyone with some sort of psychic ability. You hear him cry out in your mind, and there is no doubt that he is a very powerful, shall we say, psychically inclined individual.
Yeah. Probably dramatically appropriate. The Murthrin just suddenly winces and clutches his head briefly in surprise.
Yeah, it's definitely unnerving. At this point, we have Locke and we have Prier. So what would you two like to do?
Locke's gonna, I guess, take a phaser shot at him and see if we can drop him.
Okay. That's a negative there, unfortunately. All right, and then Prier, what are you doing?
I will also try to drop him with a stun phaser.
Wow, yeah. Just not your guys' day. All right.
I'm just picturing the phaser blast just hitting him, and he's just shrugging them off and ignoring them.
I think that's a very good mental image, so let's run with it. So on Dasim's turn, he's going to do two things because I'm going to spend some threat to let him do two actions. The first action he's going to do is he's going to fire his disruptor, or not his disruptor, his phaser rifle again. And this time he's aiming at the Zenkethi, because the Zenkethi are the closest. Unfortunately misses wildly with it. And Shatsu, I'd like you to roll me an Insight Security, please. Difficulty 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was it? I'm not used to hearing Shatsu.
That's fine. Insight Security, difficulty 3. And this is sort of representing Shatsu's battlefield awareness.
Would I guess hand-to-hand combat wouldn't come into play?
Mm-mm.
Shipboard tactical systems, no.
No. I will let this succeed at cost if you like, but I will take 2 threat for it.
All right.
All right. So what Shatsu notices is that Dasim sort of holsters or kind of lets the phaser rifle, fall onto its strap, which is over his shoulder, his good shoulder anyway. And he pulls out a strange-looking device that is sort of like a Ferengi sort of data pad that we see Quark offering people to pay on, but it also has almost like these half-circle-like protrusions that look like horns coming from the device, the top of the device. And he points this at the Zenkethi that he just tried to shoot at. And there's this ripple in the air as this force impacts the Zenkethi, sends him flying against the wall over here, and kills him instantly.
What the hell was that?
What just happened?
He's using some sort of device to push the guards.
And almost as if Dasim has heard you, even though he probably isn't in his crazed state, he says, I didn't want to have to use this, but I have to. I have to kill the Admiral. I have to. I'll kill you all if I have to. And it's at that point that more Zenkethi run into the room. And this one is going to dive literally prone onto the ground, take a shot at Dasim. Actually, we'll hit Dasim. Let's see what Dasim rolls for his cover. All right, cover's still not helping Dasim, but let's see how much does Zenkethi roll. All right, so I need to spend a little bit more threat here to keep him alive. He has literally 1 stress left available to him. But Dasim takes another shot, and he just sort of cries out in pain, and it is now your guys' turn.
Alrighty. Murthrin will sort of like line up with his good arm and try to disarm him and like knock the phaser rifle clear from his hands.
Well, so the phaser rifle is on a sling or a strap
okay.
that's currently attached to him over his shoulder.
Right.
But
in that
the
case,
device,
I'll have to go for the device.
Yeah, I would say the device you could probably disarm him.
Alright, let's aim for that.
Okay.
So, 2 momentum.
Yep, it would be 2 momentum for that. And I actually don't think you have to spend it until you make a successful attack.
That's good.
I think.
Actually, let me look at the chart.
Yeah, it's on page 178.
Yep. Yeah, those are combat momentum spends, and those happen after successfully attacking.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Alright, well, let me put those 2 momentum back for now. Alright, let's roll to attack again.
Alrighty, control security, difficulty 2. Yep, so unfortunately,
Not quite.
shot goes wide.
Oh,
Alright.
that momentum's there for the next person.
Mm-hmm. Alright, who would like to go next?
I'd like to attempt to shoot the device in his hand.
Okay. So, aiming specifically for the device, you're either going to have to spend a minor to aim, or you're going to do it at an increased difficulty of 3.
I'll spend a minor to aim.
Okay. That also does give you the benefit of re-rolling 1d20. Otherwise, control security, difficulty 2. Yeah, so even Shatsu's great skill at handheld energy weapons, even she misses.
I
This-
can't roll that. You roll that 20.
Oh, wait, yeah, go ahead. What am I saying? Go ahead, reroll. You could very well hit. Yeah, that's so. Walking that back. You do hit him, but go ahead and roll your damage, and I'll roll to see if his cover helps him at all. All right, so yeah, so at this point, you do finally put him down because he is now at -3 stress. Are you still aiming to stun, or would you have advanced it up a little bit?
Still stunned.
Okay.
I mean, we kind of need him.
All right. So at this point, Dasim is out of combat, but you still have to deal with the Zenkethi that are here. And whether that you do that by words or force, I leave entirely up to you all. But it is Locke and or Prier's turn.
I think that's more of the doctor taking over.
Yeah. I'm going to try to run over to Dasim.
Okay. Yeah, I would say you would have to spend your entire minor action of movement to get there, but you could.
Yeah. I'll do that, and then I'm going to try to take a quick scan of him to see if his neurotransmitters are showing anything strange, because this is not normal Vulcan behavior.
Alrighty. This is going to be a reason and medicine. Normally it would be a difficulty 2, but because you are in the middle of a firefight, it will be a difficulty 3 instead.
All right. Would either xenobiology or Vulcan culture work?
I would say
focus?
both could.
All right. Oh,
Yeah, so unfortunately, as you scan him, you basically determine that he's going to be unconscious for a while, but other than that, not able to really get a read on his neurotransmitter levels. And I will say the complication is that the Zenkethi see you running over to him and say, "Get away from him immediately." I said, "Get away!" And they might start shooting at you next. Unless Locke does something.
Crud. Why is it always me?
Throw an exploding combat at them.
Don't tempt me. Locke is actually going to take his phaser and put it on the ground and be like, combat situation's over. We have it under control here. You can lower your weapons. There's no need for us this test.
Okay. Let's have that be a presence and either command or security. And I'm going to make this a difficulty 3 because 2 Zenkethi have died. So you might want to spend momentum, might want to spend determination, but it is a difficulty 3.
Use that momentum.
I'm actually going to spend my determination with
Okay.
the it's doing the right thing as its own reward
All right.
for the auto
Oh, yeah.
crits. Just because my presence is not good. It's average. Okay, my command sucks.
All right. Hey,
There you
that's
go.
the 3 successes you need.
That was a good call.
Yeah. So, the Zenkethi see you putting down your weapons, and well, I guess it's just the Zenkethi.
Probably helps that Merthrin's sort of lying there clutching his shoulder.
Yeah. The lone Zenkethi that's currently in the room kind of sees this, and he says, "Very well. You, in the hallways, secure the area. Everything's under control in here." And we are now out of combat.
Priya, Locke, you okay to escort him to the brig from there?
Yes, sir. I will actually
Good.
walk over and put my comm badge on the whatever crazy device he was using,
Mm-hmm.
and have that beamed directly to my lab.
Okay. I will say that if you want to do this stealthily, it will take a roll. But if you want it to be shown to the Zenkethi and to Shatsu, well, I guess Shatsu would know either way. If you don't want the Zenkethi to find out, it will be a roll.
What type of roll?
I would say, as I hastily try to find what the transporter rules are, let's see. I would say this would be a control engineering. This would be a difficulty of 4 because it's not on a pad and you're not transporting to a pad. And the only good news is that the Ophion would assist you with sensors engineering.
I think I'm just gonna let them see it.
All right, so you go to put your comm badge down, and Zenkethi that's there says, "What are you doing? Are you trying to take away evidence?"
Trying to confiscate this device and put it in a safe location. If it is needed for the trial, I will return it.
Roll me a presence command difficulty 2.
I'm gonna put my my hand on Prier's shoulder and tell him to go see Merthin, and I'll take Dason.
I'm gonna buy a third dice with one of the momentum.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Zenkethi's having none of it.
Yeah, the Zenkethi is not having any of it. He literally bodies you out of the way and picks up the device and says, "We will be taking care of this device."
Be careful. I think it is negatively attuned to Zenkethi biology. It did disintegrate 2 of your people.
He gives the Zenkethi equivalent of a humph and sort of motions to Shatsu to help get Dasim to the brig.
Yeah.
So,
Shatsu, you just go with them. Make sure they don't rough them up too bad. I'll head to the infirmary.
Proceed to Merthin.
Yes, sir.
I'll be fine. Ow! Oh, okay. No, maybe I do need a bit of medical attention.
all right. So, Prayer, if you want to do I think it's a control and medicine difficulty of all of a 1.
Would emergency medicine count as a focus?
Yeah, it's enough of an emergency, sure.
Yeah, like
there you go.
phaser rifle blast to the
You're
shoulder.
not in you're not in like a sick bay. So.
Yeah. So yeah, you get a momentum, which is the whole purpose of the roll, and yeah, you're able to give him a hypo spray to dull the pain, but you know that he'll be fine. Just a little bit singed around the edges for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Oh. All right. Yep, that'll do for now until I can get to the sick bay and get a little regenerator on it.
Yeah, just a little singed around the edges, as they say.
Well, not the cleanest wrap up to an investigation ever, but I've seen worse.
When I went to the JAG office, because apparently that is where Miss Skiza is, and I was kind of sent there as a distraction to get the Zenkethi over here. He was there. He was contacting Skiza to proclaim his innocence as he yelled when we came in the room as well. I think there's still more here.
Still doesn't answer the question of why he had a full-blown phaser rifle on him, though. And what was that device that he used to throw the Zenkethi against the wall?
I wish I knew.
Well, my limited knowledge of Zenkethi, they don't have bones. It's a liquid sack that they can inflate. So I'm wondering if it was something that that physiological trait of the Zenkethi.
I'm actually wondering whether it's nothing to do with the Zenkethi at all. I mean, I'm not sure if you noticed, but when he yelled in pain right there, I didn't just hear it, I heard it, and he sort of points to his head. Like, he is... Like, I have never encountered a Vulcan that was that overtly psychic.
There's also the question of the other murders that happened several years ago. We should really check to see if the officer was here during that period.
I mean,
or
that's the thing. I mean, according to the records, he's a graduate fresh out of the academy. He wouldn't even have been around 7 years ago.
Presumably not. He might have done a tour here in the academy or done before he enlisted. But very likely something else has triggered his possibly that device.
Well, at the very least, we've got enough to get Panek out of the brig.
And on that note, let us take our 10-minute break.
Alrighty.
So, if you guys could be back by no later than 3:40, please. All right, BRB. And I am unmuted for the stream. Let me lower the music a little bit so I'm not totally blared out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you're having a good time with this. Just as a reminder, if you have Amazon Prime, you also have a free subscription of Twitch Prime, and that is a free sub to any channel of your choice every month, and you do have to manually renew it. Other than that, just like to say thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully those of you that have checked out my mission compendium, you're having a good time with it. I would love to hear any stories about how your group handled it. And also a reminder that I'm doing the Fire Emblem playtest thing this coming Wednesday at 9 p.m. Gonna be right here on Twitch, and hopefully it'll be a good time. Other than that, that's all I really have, so I'll unmute myself for the rest of the guys. And I'm back.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
Alright, that's 2 so far. Also, Panek, I'll tell you what Plan B was after the session. Alright, I think we're just waiting on Mirthrin at this point.
Alrighty, back.
Alrighty, I think that's everyone. Put us back on the screen. Alright. So, we're going to cut to the brig. And I'm curious who would be going to the brig besides from Shatsu.
I'll go.
Alright, here we go.
Yeah, I've
Anyone
actually
else?
realised Mirthrin wouldn't be because he's zipping off to the sick bay to get seen up. So once again, he misses out on alter ego Panek.
I mean, you still could come, no problem. You would just have to delay going to sickbay.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he wouldn't really have a reason to delay going to sick bay because, as far as he knows, it's all sorted, and he doesn't know Panek is currently going through a Jekyll Hyde episode.
Ah, fair enough. What about you, Locke? Would you like to be here, or are you going to be going elsewhere?
Locke would like to just be monitoring from a safe distance and taking as many detailed scans of like biochemistry and brains as possible.
Okay, so Locke will say you're there, you're just in the back of the room, kind of a thing. But yeah, when Prier and Locke, when you arrive, you see that your, I hate to call him prey, but your target, Ensign Dasim, is currently unconscious in his own cell. across from Panax, strangely enough. I really should get a bigger brig map, I suppose, but oh well. But yeah, Prayer, you kind of walk in, and Panek, you sort of have watched this whole affair. They brought in Seam, they kind of very unceremoniously threw him to the floor, and then just left.
Tisk tisk, cat doctor. You were supposed to return to me for confirmation.
Unfortunately, the return trip became a little bit more complicated very quickly. But I ask now, is this the man you saw?
That depends on whether or not our stipulations are met. I see you've brought one of the liars along with you. The professional liar there in the corner.
Liar? What do you
Indeed.
mean?
Oh, I've caught him and Mr. Drake at it. I like Mr. Drake. Very brutish. Not very intelligent, though.
I take offense at that.
I just ignore
Yeah,
him.
of course, Drake's in the next cell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Doctor? Have you... Go ahead.
I feel that it should be up to the other Panek to decide, as he is the one that has...
Why? Why does the other Panek get rights and I don't? Why am I forced to be caged?
Seeing as the other Panek, that is his body by birth.
By birth? This argument is illogical. The very nature of fundamental volcanism is to be exactly like me. They go through training to teach their brains to hide their emotions. That is not natural. This is not his standard default normalcy. It is an acquired thing. The other Panek is the imposter. He's pretending to be civil and obedient and everything that he is not. How can you give him claim over this body rather than me?
Well, then I raise the question, aren't all societal acts a learned action?
You are much more interesting to talk to than the captain, I will admit that, Doctor. I will have to make time to see you again. But for now, yes, this is the man I saw in the alley.
All right. The strange thing is he claims he didn't do it. Not that I necessarily believe him one way or another. However, I feel there's more at play than just one person pushing a mind meld on our first victim. This individual also could be a victim.
Be mind melds all the way down, Doctor.
And almost like Lagar has chosen this exact moment to butt in, he does butt in. He walks up to the edge of the force field and he shows you, Panek, he shows you the device. He says, "Do you know what this is?"
Does Panek have any idea?
I mean, you're a Vulcan. Let me double check your focuses. Yeah, you would know what this is. I'm gonna whisper to you on Discord. So it's not that exact device, but it is a similar one.
That's interesting.
And I would say you would know that because you're Vulcan, and you obviously, to get to this rank, you would have at least learned about that event.
Quite interesting what you have there. That is a psionic weapon. it can focus the emotions and thoughts of another being into a force able to kill.
Well, it killed one of my men, so I believe that much. But a psionic weapon, what a strange thing.
Well, you are dealing with species that use psychic abilities. I mean, it's not very strange that they would develop instruments in order to focus this.
The guard just sort of shrugs, puts the device back in a protective casing, and goes back to playing the guard sitting in the corner.
Pinnock makes note of where this device is, and his eyes linger on it longer, a little long before he turns back to the doctor.
Oh no.
Well, what is your next move, Doctor? Are you to release me from this cell?
I will release you, but I am going to put doctor's order that you will be confined to quarters for the time being.
This is not a game, Doctor. I want my freedom. At any cost.
I understand, but good things come to those that wait, Pinnock.
You have no idea how long I've been waiting. Sitting in here watching this robot move from place to place.
So you've been waiting this long. What's a few hours or days more?
My patience grows thin, Doctor. I will abide by your ruling, but I will not so easily give this control back to the other Pinnock.
I understand. Let us wrap everything up here with this murder, and then we will find a way to find a solution that works for both you and the other Pinnock.
Very well. I do not compromise easily, though, Doctor. You may remand me to my quarters.
Very well. Lagar, could you provide some guards to escort Pinnock back to the Ophion to his quarters?
Just sort of humps and taps his equivalent of a comm badge and says, "Security Team Beta, please report to the brig for prisoner escort." And then he taps his comm badge again and tells Shatsu that he's on his way.
Pinnock, we will find a solution for you. That I promise.
I have a solution. The rest of you do not seem comfortable in accepting it.
We will find a solution that fits all parties involved.
Sometimes, Doctor, things do not wrap up very tightly in a bow.
Not always. But it is our duty to find the best case situation for all involved.
You may find you have need of me in the rest of this investigation, Doctor. Do not be shy. I will lend you my expertise in Vulcan mind melds.
I have that noted in my notes. Should we need you, I will be happy to come and visit.
And it is about this time that the security team arrive. It's literally 8 Zenkethi. They're not messing around at this point, especially not after Drake's display. And yeah, they sort of flank you, Pinnock. They lower the force field. They bring you into their midst, and unless you literally start a brawl, are going to march you to the Ophion.
I won't, but I will make note of where the psionic weapon is, so.
Okay. Lagar would have kept it on his person in the case, but he would drop it off in the security office before escorting you. So yeah, Pinnock is no longer there. Neither is Lagar. And that just leaves Locke, Prier, and Drake. Drake is just like, well, that's One mystery solved. What about getting me out of here?
Well, you did assault Citizen Kathy. I feel like your getting out of here is a little bit more difficult than proving your innocence.
He just sort of sighs and says, same thing, you know. Get covered in blood over a dead body, punches and it's all the same thing.
I believe they talked about community service of some kind.
Community. What? Fine.
Just what I heard.
I'll do whatever it takes. Just it's getting annoying sitting in here.
We'll get you out as soon as we possibly can, Drake. For now, Locke, why don't we run a scan on our friend Dasim over here? I'm still not convinced that he was doing this on his own accords.
I will assist you. I believe brain scans are much more of your expertise than mine.
All right. Well, actually, Locke, it occurs to me that, and of course you can choose not to or flavor it differently. On hearing the term psionic weapon, it strikes me that Locke would be the type to look up, what that all entails.
Almost certainly. Locke is actually, I'm thinking of actually going through the logs and doing keyword searches for things related to the artifact and relic to see when it came into his possession.
Okay. So we're gonna just do this this way. Priya, you're gonna be rolling a reason medicine. Difficulty 2. Locke, you're gonna be rolling a let's do a insight science or an insight command. Sounds right. And both of your difficulties will be a 2.
Xenobiology as a focus?
Uh-huh.
I imagine data analysis from my...
Yep, data analysis for you. Alright, so Priya, you get the 2. Alright, so it's going to be more Priya figuring this out than it is Locke. So Locke, you're able to look up basic information of psionic weaponry. You know that there was once a device called the Stone of Gaul that was discovered by Captain Jean-Luc Picard in 2369. To your knowledge, and basically what you're seeing in the database was that this device was once used by ancient Vulcans and has been subsequently destroyed. But that there might be other such psionic weaponry out there as relics. Prier, what you're going to notice is that you took a scan of Dasim when he was disabled and the device was still nearby. You scan him again, and you realize his neurochemistry is completely changing, almost as if the device was somehow affecting him in some way.
Locke, this is very interesting.
Hmm.
His neurochemistry is nothing like a normal Vulcan.
I wonder if the device was not meant for Vulcans and it's rewriting his brain.
That is an interesting theory. One to go on. I have no idea what this device does.
Which might explain why the previous murders, if it was something that was causing it rather than someone. But again, I need to get my hands on the device.
Yeah, I feel like getting our hands on the device is going to be a little bit more difficult than we would like.
Is there any way to reverse the brain damage that's currently taking place?
I don't know. Is there, GM?
There is. You would... I mean, it's going to take some therapy and several years of it, but he'll eventually get back to where he was.
Nothing that I can do necessarily medically. It's all a lot of therapy and my guess a trip back to Vulcan.
Well, as long as he can recover, the sooner he begin, the sooner he might be able to help or give us some better information.
I'm thinking years and years, not necessarily days.
As long as he has a moment of lucidity, it might help.
This is true. Should we try to wake him?
I think we should let him sleep for now. I don't think we're going to get at anything from him immediately. So we can continue to see if we can request access to the device.
Sounds like a plan. Let's go see if we can convince our Zakethi friend to let us scan the device.
All right. So we cut to Theater of the Mind as you guys meet with Lagar in his office once again. There's lock. All right, there you go. So yeah, you walk into the security office and Lagar is literally just sitting down as you walk in, and he says, well, now what do you want?
We would like to formally request that the psionic device be handed over to us to help our investigation for both the treatment of the patient and also to discover its origins.
Kind of looks at you and narrows his eyes a little bit and says, this device is slated to be destroyed in... Computer, what is the time? Tells him the time, and he says, in about an hour's time. Why should I let anyone have access to it before then?
If you don't want to if you don't want to solve a 7-year-old murder, that's fine.
Go ahead and roll me a presence command. I know I'm kind of hurting you because Skull isn't here, but if you could roll me a presence command, difficulty 2, please.
Could I somehow assist?
If you would describe how you're assisting.
I'll go up to Lagar and go, this device seems to have affected this Vulcan's brain chemistry. The scan that I took has no indications that it's a normal Vulcan brain pattern. If we can figure out what caused this, we might be able to prevent it from ever happening again.
All right, I'll say you can assist with presence medicine.
I'm going to buy an extra die anyway.
All right. Cool. You know what? Let's spend some threat. Complication range, 16 to 20.
Uh-oh.
Now, there's a complication, but you do get 2 successes.
Would I have an ethical focus, either xenobiology or research?
I would say research does.
Of course, we would want none of the credit for this crap.
All right, let me think how to handle this. Lagar, looks between the two of you, sighs, and says, you get 5 minutes, and the clock starts now. And he deliberately takes his time getting the box out and putting it down in front of you, so that when you finally have access to it, it's already been 2 minutes. So you have 3 minutes to do whatever with this device.
While he's there.
While he's there, yes.
I want a detailed scan so I can hopefully replicate some of it with the hollow, and also just kind of getting an idea of where it came from, how old it is, see if it matches Vulcan designer.
All right, so this is going to be a... I'm thinking either a control or daring. I want to say daring more than control because you're trying to make a very detailed scan very quickly. So let's do daring in science. And let's make it a difficulty 4. And if Prier wants to describe how he's assisting, he can assist as well.
I'll have my tricorder out taking as detailed scans as I can to assist with Locke, as well as see if it has anything like any characteristics that would manipulate with brain chemistry.
Okay, sure. I'll say you can assist them.
I'm going to spend our last momentum. I'm assuming this is was it daring science for the scanning?
Yep, daring science.
And I also probably have my focus of targeted scan.
Yep, for targeted scans will apply.
Could I spend my determination to assist?
From what I actually learned, you cannot buy additional die when you're assisting. But the good news is you'll need to roll 1 success.
No pressure.
None whatsoever.
Ooh.
God.
You could spend your determination to re-roll that.
I'm going to spend my determination to roll that eager to please.
Yeah, that would apply.
I'm so tense right now.
Not quite, unfortunately. You guys spend the better part of, the 3 minutes you were given to try and take as detailed of a scan of this thing as possible, but time runs out, unfortunately, and it's done so by Lagarde literally slamming the lid of the box back down and putting it away and says, "You've had your 5 minutes."
I would like to impress upon you again that you're holding a murderer that is accused of mirroring crimes that took place 7 years ago before this person was on the station, and that device you're putting away might be responsible.
Then destroying it should fix our problems.
But you won't get the credit for solving a cold case.
I care not. As long as there are no more murders, that's all I really care about.
But this,
Locke, I think we've done everything we can do here.
we do have something. Hopefully, maybe there might be some more information in his logs that we can go through. If we can find out what he was doing and retrace his steps, maybe we can find out where he found it.
Agreed. I think that's should be our next step. Shall we go find Murthrin and regroup?
Agreed.
All right. So where do you want to do all this research from?
We want to do it from your lab on the Ophion, Locke?
In the situation might be best. Going back to his quarters and looking through his logs there and just seeing what he's seeing at the same time.
All right, let's go with his quarters. And yeah, Murthrin, they pick you on up after you've been healed back up to full, and bring you back to Dasim's quarters.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a botanist, correct?
He was, yes.
So the two places we should probably look are one, this quarters, find out who was at this quarters before he took over here, and also find out who was the previous botanist here, because those are the two areas we know he would have been, and he might have come into contact with this.
All right.
Right. Sounds like our best starting point.
All right. So you've already scanned and gone through this room once and found a lot of things, but if you want to scan through it again, it will be at an increased difficulty.
Yeah. Now that we're not on a time crunch, we can just go over it with a fine-toothed comb.
Mm-hmm.
Just check the air vents and the bulkheads areas. See if there's any place that this could have been, the device could have been stored and unearthed.
Yeah. So this will be a insight security, and 2 people can assist, but someone does have to take the lead.
All right. So, Priya, what's your insight security like?
11.
And your security?
No, insight. That's overall 11. Insight 9, security 2.
11. Okay. Well, looks like it's still me on the lead then.
Alrighty.
And let's hope that 2 assists make up the difference.
All right. 1 success, 2 success.
Would my research methods apply as a focus?
Sure, why not? All right, you get the 3 you needed. So between the 3 of you, you actually find that behind that the couch-like thing in front of you on the screen, you find that there is a hidden compartment underneath of it, and it is about the same size as the device was.
Any residual particles or traces?
I would say, based on the scan that you took earlier, you are able to find some form of chipped metal or chipped sort of paint, or however you want to flavor it. Some remnant of the device was here, yes.
It does look like it was stored here. You can see this scuff marks of the painting and the shape of left by the dust. Definitely seem it was in here. So he found it here. We should really investigate who had these quarters prior, especially who had these quarters maybe 7 years.
Agreed. I would also love to keep the device from being destroyed.
Well, we have all of 20 minutes before that happens. I don't see that happening.
Well, we do have access to the cameras and a decent transporter ability.
It's going to be really tricky to disguise a transport beam, though.
Depends if they're destroying it in its box or not.
It'd be really tricky. Really, that level of precision transport beaming, you really need a locator beacon.
Well, Locke, is your combat still on device?
No, my arm got knocked away. Given how detailed we scanned of it, would that be enough to really lock on if we hook up the tricorder to the sensors?
I mean, it'd help narrow it down, perhaps.
It would. I would say that would bring it into the realm of possibility. So it would still be a difficulty 5 transport, but it's at least possible.
Yeah,
and we don't need to beam it site to site. We could just beam it
we're
onto a
stationary,
pad.
we're not at warp, we know which room it is, we know where to aim the scanners, and we know exactly what the device is supposed to look like. And it's also not a living creature, which makes things a lot simpler.
Right. Really, the difficulty is not in narrowing it down, it's getting it out in a manner that the Zenkethi don't think, oh, someone's beamed this out of our possession.
Yeah.
The timing would have to
beaming
be
the entire
perfect.
box, that'd be doable, but be obvious, so we've got to somehow beam it out of the box. And of course, if they do notice, they are immediately going to assume that we stole it.
I wonder if there's another thing we could do with a more legal approach. If we could have it held as destroying evidence. I don't know.
Well,
honestly,
yeah.
I think the Zenkethi, what they say goes here.
not if the JAG office gets involved.
I wonder what the what the Zenkethi legal procedures is. I don't know how legal.
I wonder what would happen if we go visit the JAG office, because Dasim is a Starfleet officer. Destroying evidence in an investigation of a Starfleet officer?
It's worth a try. Well, tell you what, I'll start working on. I'll start working on the transporter, reconfiguring it for the job, just in case we want to fall back on that.
You do that. I'm going to go pay Captain Skiza a visit.
All right, now to rewire a transport buffer in 20 minutes.
Yeah, fun times. Alrighty. So, as I get you onto the right map, Prier, you head on back up to the JAG office, and you quite literally run into the captain. And she says, "Oh, it's you again. I take it by the fact that he's in the brig and alive that I have you to thank for that."
Us, as a crew, yes. Locke, Murthrin, Shatsu, and myself were able to intercept them, although he did manage to kill two Zenkethi prior to us being able to bring him down off of a very interesting situation.
Let's walk and talk. I'm on my way to the brig now.
Well, sir, he used a device that the running theory is it actually has altered his brain chemistry. The scan I did of his brain doesn't look like a Vulcan's, at least not at the moment.
So you mean to say that this device influenced him?
It's completely possible. However, our mutual Zinkethi friend Lagar is in the process of wanting it destroyed. We have roughly 10 minutes to stop him.
So she stops what she's doing, turns immediately to the nearest turbo lift and says, I'll handle it, but probably don't need to say this. You're not going to be able to touch this evidence.
Understood.
Right. Well, I hate to leave you out in the cold like this, but I have to get there within 10 minutes. And the turbo lift finally arrives and she says, Ops. And she heads to Ops.
I am going to go to join Murthrin with the transporter.
Alrighty. I think I have a transporter room somewhere. I do. We haven't used it in forever, but I do have it.
And if we're lucky, she'll arrive just in time and we won't need to do anything with it.
Yep. Alright, so many tokens. Alright, so Chistalak is there. Murthrin, you're over here doing your magic on the buffer. And Prier, you're here as well. Would Locke be here?
I think Locke would be upstairs on a sensor console with his tricorder plugged in and really working the chronoton sensors, just in case.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So, it's getting nearer and nearer to the end of the countdown. It's starting to look about, 2 minutes before supposedly the device is being destroyed, and no word back yet.
Do we have visual on the room where it's being destroyed?
You are able, since you had camera access, you would have been able to determine that they are essentially throwing it into the reactor and letting the matter-antimatter reaction kill it completely.
Effective.
Right. Well, that does give us a window where it's a little easier to beam it out without them noticing. Of course, it's going to be an extremely narrow window.
Captain Skiza is doing her best to stop the destruction of evidence.
Well, we'll aim to beam it out just as they throw it in, and that's literally as last minute as we can leave it.
The stipulation is if Skiza was able to stop it, we won't be able to get our hands on it again.
Well, if she doesn't manage to stop it, then no harm, no foul.
All right, so there's kind of a window as you watch the Zenkethi sort of form up on the reactor access, and sort of a countdown sort of ticks down, and it gets down to 30 seconds, then 20, then 10. And then right as they're about to throw it in, you see a bunch of JAG officers rush up to them and stop them from throwing it in. And you see you can't really hear, but you see a heated exchange between Lagar and Captain Skiza. And the end result is that Skiza is handed the box, and Lagar storms off with a huff.
And Murthrin relaxes and moves his hands away from the control. Oh. Thank goodness for Starfleet efficiency.
It does come in handy. Although, my question, Murthrin, is it always this exciting around here?
Honestly, this is a bit of a quiet day for us.
There's no exploding Atholian ships.
Yep.
Haven't gone through time
no
5 times.
By Tholian ships, no reptilian not Borg screaming at us through the comms. No Tal Shiar stations getting blown up because I tried to self-destruct the shuttle.
Oh, I've heard of the Murthrin maneuver.
Right, go to your quiet place.
So, Prier, real quick, as we do sort of a last scene, since we do, in order to move forward at this point, we do kind of need our captain. Prier, you have, at this point, I think it's fair for me to say, you would have had the idea that if you can get Panek back to Vulcan, they might be able to do something for him. but that's your call as the chief medical officer, whether you even come to the captain with that.
I'll come to the captain with that because I would like to see both sides come get their way in a way.
All right. So I'll play a little bit of the captain here since he's away. But yeah, you go up to captain's ready room and calls you in. And he says, Prier, what can I do you for?
Well, sir, I am wondering if you'd be willing to take the Ophion for a little side excursion to Vulcan.
To Vulcan, eh? I assume this is about our first officer then.
It is. As a way to get the cooperation of his darker side. I told him that we would explore all options so that both the Panek we know and love, as well as the dark side, get their way.
And he does a little bit of math in his head and says, well, as far as I know, pairs are going to be completed in about a week. And then we don't have any standing orders except to eventually get back to the Sabine Expanse. So, yeah, let's go to Vulcan.
I think it's the best way for all people to get their way.
Very good. Was there anything else, Doctor?
Is it always this exciting?
Oh, wow. Let me tell you about the time we found a nebula that was literally a dragon.
Wait, what?
And it is at that point that we sort of pan away, and that's what we're going to call the session. So thank you guys so much for being here. Hopefully we'll be able to run next week, because I think it'll be sort of an interesting possible conclusion to Panek's sort of darker side arc, or maybe it'll keep going. Who knows? But this is where I'm going to end the stream. So any of you watching on Twitch or YouTube, thank you so much, and I will see you later. Bye bye, stream.